Grand Rising. Happy Monday. There it is. Okay. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I've been out of commission the last several days, and I am getting my shit together. You guys can hear them a little bit nasally and stuff, and just had a random experience this week, but it was all of manifestation. Yes, you can totally manifest your own illness for whatever subconscious reasons you may come up with. One of them for me was not being at a social gathering last week, and subconsciously I manifested sickness in the most strange and bizarre way. And it actually happened, and I didn't consciously do it. I didn't consciously manifest me inhaling spray paint accidentally and then getting sick from it. I've had respiratory stuff since then. So it's very interesting how powerful, obviously, the mind is, and I kind of surprise myself all the time with that. That, just because we want to manifest good things does not mean that we don't have the unconscious power and belief system to manifest poor things as well, or bad things. So I wanted to talk about self-concept, but before that I wanted to talk about energy work and energy healing, and I've spoken about this before. But on the 21st, which was the new moon, really great time to to manifest all of the wants and desires that you might have. I took that time to do a lot of meditation that day, and I also took the time to do my scripting. I don't know which book it's in because I have too many, but scripting is one of the most amazing ways to really map out the things that you want and to get the things that you want, either by reading it on a daily basis, reading it 3 times a day, or writing it out every single day and getting very specific with it, because we can do visualization, which is really amazing. Scripting is another very powerful tool. I can show you guys what my scripting looks like, although no one will be able to understand it because my handwriting is smaller than the size of an ant. But you can't even see it. But it was my script that I wrote out of exactly what I want to manifest for 2023. And I'm not going to ask how it's going to happen, because there are some things that I wrote or written in here that are big things. But if I think that they're big things, or if someone else thinks that they're big things, then it's going to be harder to manifest. So I write things down and I don't care about the how. And sometimes I get caught up in the how, and then I just drop it. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen no matter what. So when you have that belief that it is going to happen no matter what, that's how things unfold, because it's easier for you to drop the idea when you're like, I don't give a shit what happens. It's going to happen for me. That's when things manifest. But if you put your wish fulfilled or your desires on a pedestal and you're like, oh, I can never have that, or it's going to be so hard, like, how am I going to do this? That is when, hi, I'm alive. That is when your desire becomes out of your reach, because you believe that it's out of your reach. And once you believe that it's out of your reach, it's going to be very difficult for you to get what you want. Even if it's a house, or if it's an apartment, or if it's you growing your own friggin' garden and you're just like, how am I going to do this? It's wintertime here. And there are always ways that things can be figured out no matter what. But if you constantly put that on a pedestal and you put that person or that job or whatever dream it is out of your reach, it's always going to be harder to attain it. Because already in your mind, you're putting that block in. This is going to be hard to get. I hope I get it one day. That's not the idea that you want to have in your mind, is that, oh, I hope that I get this one day. Because if you listen to my last video of Dick Gregory, he talks about hope. He talks about that you hope that you have something. There is hope means that you don't believe that you're going to get it. You don't have to hope. I hope that I meet the man or woman of my dreams. Oh, I hope that I can get this house. I hope that I can have that job. I hope that I can make that money so that I could support my family. Hope is bullshit. Faith. Okay, here's another one. Faith and fear. You can't see either of them, but we believe more in fear than we do in faith. We're afraid to take that next step. We're afraid. Oh, my little nugget. It's snowing outside. Sorry, they're very big snowflakes. That's why I noticed. That's weird. Faith and fear. You could have faith that something is going to happen. Blind faith. I can't see this, but I know it's going to happen. Or you can live in fear. I can't see it, but I know it's going to happen. People do that a lot with illnesses. Oh my God, I can't be around that person. I'm going to get sick. That is a fear. But it is a belief behind that fear that it's going to happen. And that's what manifestation is. It is a belief, a blind belief or faith in something, that something is going to happen, whether it's good or bad. So you get to choose whether it is faith in something, that something good is going to happen, or it's fear in something, that something bad is going to happen. So we blindly manifest. We are programmed to manifest bad things because we are shown it 24/7. Even now, there are a lot of really amazing people that have been truthers for a very long time. But what I have come to realize is that many of people in the truther movement focus on negativity 24/7. Expose this person. Look what this person said. Look what these people are doing. Focusing on the negative constantly. That's not living life in faith that something good is going to happen. That's living life in fear that all these bad things are going to happen, and we have to expose it. So while we believe that we're doing something good, I believe awareness is key. But when you live in that state of awareness, of fear that things are going to happen, and I have to expose this because I fear that these things are going to happen, you don't get to create the reality of the good things that you want to manifest that are going to happen, because you don't live there. You don't live in the space of good is coming my way, because you're too busy looking for something else to expose that is bad. And that is living in a perpetual state of fear, and then you are passing that fear on to other people. You are putting out into your universe all of the fearful things that can potentially happen. 100% correct about the truthers. That's why I ditched it. So when people ask me, you used to post about all of this political stuff. You used to post about, exposing this and exposing that. There are certain things that I will still post about, like things about regarding people's health. Health and wellness has been my number one for as long as I can remember, because I've lived it. I've had an eating disorder since I was 7 years old, so I've lived all of these things. So health and wellness has always been my thing. The human experiment right now is about health and wellness. So I will oftentimes still post about that and bring awareness to that. But I'm not dwelling in these spaces of, oh my God, this is going to happen. And look what they're doing with the weather. And look at that. If we spend our time constantly thinking of all the negative things that they are going to try to do or are doing, you leave no room to manifest the life that you really want. And that's the whole point. Keeping people in a perpetual state of fear, hopelessness, and helplessness. Well, if they do this, how can I do this? And if they do this, what about that? And all the people that are talking about the collapse of the financial system and all these things. And I'm not saying that because it's not a possibility, but I'm saying it because many of us have been living frozen in fear, not wanting to start businesses or other things because you're afraid of all the things that might happen. Doesn't that sound like the psychological operation is keeping people so afraid that they do nothing instead of so empowered? Hawaiian Empire, aloha. Keeping people so empowered, or for us to keep ourselves empowered, that we start that business, that we do the things that we wanted to do, that we go and travel. When you watch propaganda all the time, it makes you scared to go anywhere. I just spoke to one of my really good friends yesterday, Johnny. He moved down to Mexico. And he was like, and this is almost the exact conversation that we had and we spoke about, is that he said it's completely different in Mexico than the propaganda that you see, and that you have to be afraid. He's like, yes, it's a totally different lifestyle. Yes, there are dangerous places here. But there's dangerous places no matter where you go. I can drive 15 minutes from where I am right now to North Philly, and I don't know if I will make it out. I don't know if I'll get shot. I don't know if I will get robbed. You can go anywhere, or say that about any place, that there are dangerous places. But you have to know and use your own discernment that those are the places and spaces that you cannot go. But to constantly live in a perpetual state of fear because of propaganda and because of people that choose to share the negative and dark things all the time, that is not doing anything for the collective universe. That is not doing anything for the collective energy of the world. These snowflakes are like this big. It is not doing anything for anyone but keeping people afraid. So how could you have the best life when all you're doing is looking for all the bad that's going on so that you can share it with people, so that we can make people aware of how dark this world is? How about making people aware of how light this fucking world is? It all is perception. It all is your perspective on things. Is there a lot of dark shit happening? Absolutely. But how many videos can you find online that are of all the good in the world? Or how many people are rescuing animals? Of how many people that are going out and feeding homeless people or helping them get a job? How many of those things do you see? There are tons. It depends on where you look, and it depends on what you follow. So in order to manifest your best life, why are we focusing on exposing this? Like, for example, Jamie Lee Curtis was all over every feed. I was about to unfollow everybody of this picture of this child in a container. Not because we shouldn't look at these things. Not because it's not important to expose child trafficking and children suffering. But what is that doing for you? Did you go out into the world to join a Saving the Children organization? Did you start one? Because there are plenty of people that are doing that work. But what is it doing for anybody sharing that picture over and over again? Most people know what Hollywood is by now. If you don't, it's because you're purposely not paying attention and you don't want to. Because you don't want to see the truth. But what is that doing for anyone? People refuse to go inside and within themselves. And in order, or not in order, but instead, they will share all the things outside and point your finger at all these people. Point your finger at that person. Point your finger at the government. Point your finger at actors. Point your finger at the person that lives next door to you. But when are you going to point the finger at yourself so that you can take accountability for your own life, so that you could begin to manifest and live the life that you actually desire? When? Because this is the biggest problem. The biggest problem isn't what's going on out in the world. The biggest problem is every single one of us not taking accountability for our own bullshit. I was fighting with myself all week because I manifested my own sickness. And it fucked up my entire week. But I had the belief and I had the knowing that I didn't want to go somewhere. And I manifested my own self getting sick. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. But I knew that I didn't want to go somewhere because I was afraid that I was going to get sick from going. So when are we going to turn it around? And I'm going to talk about self-concept. When are we going to turn this around and say, this is Bob Proctor, I am the problem and I am the solution. Nobody else. I don't care about your parents. Your mom did this to you. Your dad did that to you. Your ex-wife or your ex-boyfriend. I don't give a shit. Because that doesn't matter. I am the problem. I am the solution. If that's the only thing that we can write down today, is my reality is the way that it is because I am the problem and I am the solution. No matter what your circumstance is. I am the problem and I am the solution. And when you really sit with that, you're like, shit, I am the problem, but I am the solution too. What more can we say? I am the problem, I am the solution. That leaves all of the accountability on who? Myself. I'm not still blaming the government for them, spraying chemtrails. Although it is their fault. I'm not saying that it's not their fault. But what I am saying is that when do you start taking accountability for yourself and the way that your health is, or the way that your wealth is, or the way that your mentality is, or the way that your relationships are? When you are the problem and you are the solution. That's it. Neville Goddard talks about all the time that we are the God of our reality. That offends people, and I really don't care. Religion is a construct of man. That whole thing is a psyop. But if we're the problem and we are the solution, we are the God of our reality because everything is happening because of what we do and what we say. Words cast spells. So if words cast spells, what are the things that you're saying, either to other people or to yourself? Because everybody that we meet in life is a mirror to us in some way. Everyone is you pushed out. What does that mean? Go look at any relationship that you have with anybody, whether it's your boss, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's a spouse. Every single person in your life will tell you exactly where and who you are. Are you surrounded by people that are going nowhere fast? Are you surrounded by people that have no ambitions in life? They are a reflection of your beliefs about yourself. Do you surround yourself with greatness? Are you constantly inspired by the things that are around you every day? You are the problem and you are the solution. We have a creator, absolutely, but a creator is different than God. That's a whole long other story. Because absolutely I believe in the creator, that we have a creator. But all the other demigods below that have been created for people to keep people stuck, to keep people believing of things outside of themselves, I don't believe in. Because every decision we make is giving us the life that we have. Every mental decision that we make is giving us, whether we make it consciously or not is irrelevant right now. But once you have the awareness of all the things that you're focusing on every single day, that's when you start to realize that awareness of those things is the reason why my reality is the way that it is. Why are all these bad things happening to me? Why am I always sick? Why do I not have the life that I want? Why am I not living in my dream home? Well, what do you believe about that? What do you believe about your dream home? I could never have that. How could I ever afford that? And just like the video that I posted last night of Dick Gregory, when he says, that you want to go on a trip to Paris, but you say, I would love to go to Paris, but I can't afford that. And he said, you just told 75 trillion cells in your body that you can't afford a trip to Paris. So it's not going to happen. If you have these negative thoughts constantly, which we all do, the old saying, what you think you become. We all have these negative programs that we run from, or that run us rather. I run from them. Many of us run from them when you're aware of them. But instead of running from them, you have to reprogram them. But we have these poverty mindsets. We have these limiting belief systems that are developed and programmed from when we were children. We grow up with our families with the passed down mentality most times. Like when people believe that heart disease runs in my family or cancer runs in my family. What are the belief systems that run in your family? What are the eating habits that run in your family? Bruce Lipton talks about this all the time. That we don't have, or that we're not able to pass down these illnesses, their beliefs. He talks about epigenetics. He talks about a lot of things. He's a stem cell biologist, so he talks so much about beliefs and how they literally can turn on different genes. How they literally can cut our life short based on our belief system. It's the same thing as when you go to a doctor and he says you have stage 4 cancer, you have maybe 3 months to live. I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do for you. If you go home with that belief and you believe that, you're on that timeline. And you will expire at the time that you believe that you're going to expire because that is the belief. So our subconscious is programmed from when we're children, but it's also programmed when you hear devastating news or devastating things happen to you. It automatically punches the subconscious mind and it installs that program. So when you hear something from someone that says, and you believe them, you have, I'm sorry, but you're only going to have a couple weeks to live, or you only have 6 months to live. That can instantly program the subconscious mind, and because you automatically believe it so deeply in your core that you are going to end at that time. And then you live based on that. Or you see people, like Joe Dispenza talks about it all the time, that he has reversed people's terminal illnesses through their mind and through the mindset. So I want to talk about your self-concept a little bit, because that's what this is all about. And being a person that has been trying to reprogram my belief system, reprogram my self-concept from one that is limiting to limitless, it is not an easy task by any means. But it's not impossible, because as much as our minds are able to be programmed of all the negative things, that means it's powerful enough to be reprogrammed with the positive things that you actually want. And I say this all the time, but for those of you that are not on here, the most impressionable time for our subconscious mind is before you go to sleep, as you're going to sleep, or just when you wake up in the morning. So if you do morning meditations, do it as soon as you wake up when you're still half asleep, because that's when the mind and subconscious mind is most impressionable. Or you can do it as you're falling asleep and continue to play those audios of reprogramming the subconscious mind while you are asleep, because the subconscious mind doesn't shut off, it doesn't go to sleep, it doesn't take a break. So while you are sleeping, your mind is not. So can you utilize that time to listen to audios that are going to reprogram your subconscious mind? Absolutely, I do it every single night. And eventually that shit's going to sink in. So, your self-concept. Self-concept is an internal representation of who you are. It is the way you view yourself based on your beliefs about yourself. Now, when we talk about that, it's like, oh, well, I believe that I'm confident, and I believe that I can have anything that I want, and I believe that I can have, I'm driving a beautiful car, and I have an amazing house. That's all great, and that's really cute. But that's not really your beliefs about yourself. Because if that was all of our beliefs about ourselves, that we could have anything that we want, we would. So those are the things that we want. Those are not the things that we actually are. So when you look at your life and where your life is right now, do you have the home that you want to live in? Do you have that beautiful garden that you've always dreamed of? Do you have an amazing farm that you want to raise animals on? I'm just saying whatever it is that you want. Do you have the children? Do you have the marriage? Do you have the relationship? And if you don't, there is something about your inner, deepest core beliefs or your self-concept that does not believe that you deserve these things, are worthy of these things, are chosen, are lucky enough. There's something in your very, very, very core roots. The roots of your tree have a different belief than what you say that you do believe. Because there are plenty of things in my lifetime, or even now, that still creep up on me, that I'm like, I have to immediately cancel the thoughts out. Even when it comes to money still, and I'm having success, and I'm successful, there's still that feeling of guilt that'll come up that I don't, or I shouldn't have this. Or I don't deserve this. For whatever reason that was back from childhood, it'll still come up. Even after you do all this work, it'll still come up and test you. But you have to immediately cancel out those thoughts. I'm worthy of all the amazing things that I want. I am loved. I am chosen always. Whatever it is that your affirmation is, when a negative thought comes up, do not allow the thought to continue or finish. Immediately cancel out that thought. So those are your root beliefs. The roots of your tree are going to cause the tree to grow in the exact way that it's going to grow. So are the roots of your feet, or are the roots of your existence or of your consciousness, did it allow your tree to grow into exactly what you want? And I don't think that there's one person that can say yes. We all have such negative programming, and that's on purpose. It's not because we have a shitty family or that we're not worthy of having a good life. It's the way that society was constructed on purpose, so that we can't live to our highest potential. If everybody lived to their highest and most powerful potential, what's happening in the world right now would never have been able to happen, because we would be considered enlightened beings. We have been so dumbed down as humans that we have no idea how the fuck we work. We have no idea how our mind works. We have no idea how powerful we really are. We have no idea that we co-create our reality. We have no idea that our thoughts are creating the reality that we have. Because we were not even taught to believe it. When you hear these things, you think that it's, oh, that's magic stuff. That's new age stuff. Think about our ancestors or beings that were here for thousands of years. They were way more advanced than we'll ever be. We are probably the dumbest that humanity has ever been. The dumbest. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because it's truthful. We are the dumbest. We have no idea how anything works, which is why information like this is so insanely important, so that we realize and understand how consciousness works, so that we can use that to the best of our ability. So when people talk about light workers, those are people that are bringing light. Light is consciousness. Exposing all these things, and these person are doing this. What are you doing for humanity? Are you making people smarter? You're bringing awareness, but you're also bringing fear. Hawaiian Empire, yeah. Access to our DNA was disconnected. I was watching this video that our DNA was capped and that we could potentially live for thousands of years. But other beings disconnected our DNA. That's a whole other story. But it just goes to show us that we are very limited beings. And in order to be limitless, we have to be able to access the higher parts of ourselves. But most people are too stuck in their ego to even listen to anything that I'm saying, or listening to anything that people are saying, that when they talk about consciousness. Because consciousness has been what can I say? What's the word? It's been constructed to be about spirituality, or it's about religion, or it's all these things are always put into little boxes, and then everybody else is always put in these little boxes. Oh, that person's just a hippie. Oh, that person is you know, religious, or that person is racist. There's always a label. But what you really can't put into a box is consciousness, because that is what we are. If there is no conscious energy in my body, I'm no longer alive. That's all of us. So you can't sit there and say, consciousness, oh, that's woo-woo, or that's new age. Without the energy in my body or in any of our bodies, we don't exist. But we never learn how to work or understand the energetical body. We only learn about the physical. You have to take this medicine. You have to do this, in order to be healthy. We are so dumbed down that it's insulting. That we are dumbed down enough to believe that I need chemicals made inside of a lab to give me health. Instead of me understanding, I can create health or disease just through my mind. That's it. Just through my mind and my way of thinking. I can create health, I can create wealth, I can create love, I can create all the scenarios that I want just through the way that my consciousness works and is programmed. So if I am constantly programming my subconscious beliefs or my subconscious mind with negative things all the time, and these belief systems that are nonsense, they are insulting to our existence. But this is what the Rockefellers created. This is what all of these 1%ers, or whatever you want to call, this is the system that they created, a belief system based around a fake system. Why do you think they burned all the witches at the stake? Because they were healing people with herbs. They were going out in the trees and picking plants, and they were healing people. Why do you think that the system that we have now is the biggest system in the world? Big Pharma. Because of propaganda. Because that's what people believe. That's what people are taught. That's what doctors go to school for. They don't learn about nutrition. I think they have one course on nutrition. Is your matching website working? What does that mean? What is matching website? Your mind is the most powerful tool there is. And that is the truth. There's no amount of information out there that is going to guide you like the information that you already have in here. But you got to listen to it. Why do you think we have so many distractions? How many social media apps are people on? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Snapchat? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? What other apps? I mean, there's so many of them. How many things do you need to distract you from yourself? How many? How many until you realize that these are all psychological operations to distract you from yourself? It's not even distracting you from other people. All of these things are constructs to distract us from never going within. Keep people constantly busy with all the things that are going on outside of themselves so they don't look inside of themselves. At what point do we realize this? I love that. That's why it's called information, not outformation. Everything is inverted in this 3D matrix system. And until we realize that we are just a part of the game in the system, and you look at it as that, we're always going to be stuck. We are always going to be stuck in this construct that they have made for us, instead of rediscovering who we are and what our point is on this realm of existence. They're trying to keep us dumb and numb. You could say that again and again. Because there are so many people, and I'm sure that many of you can agree to this. You have conversations with people maybe that you haven't seen in a while, or maybe that you just met and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually dumber. Like, look at what humanity has turned into. And not because you're judging people, because you're starting to understand through your awakening process, we have to fucking do something. We have to do something. Look what you see on the news. Look at how uneducated people are. Look at the way that people conduct themselves. People that go in stores and ransack them and all these things. There's a million different reasons why these people do these things. One is for the frequency war that we're in. But you realize that we're so far from ourselves that people don't even know how to behave like human beings anymore. There is no peace. Why is there no peace? Because people are so far away from themselves. We want to be gangbangers. We want to be like these celebrities. We want to be fake. We want to change what we look like. We want to do all these things because we don't know who we are on the inside. And we're constantly looking on the outside for people to show us who the fuck we should be. We didn't come here to be anybody else. We came here to be ourselves. How could you know who you are when you're trying to be somebody else? Like Hollywood, for example. I lived in LA for 14 years. Every single female looks exactly the same. Didn't you come here to figure out your own journey? Because now the social construct is to just follow. Let's follow the leaders. Why do you think they propped up the Kardashians? Why do you think those people are dumb as rocks? Why do you think they did that? To disempower women. To take away what it truly means to be a woman. To confuse people to a point, well, I don't look like that, and now I feel inferior. My body's not shaped like that, so now I feel inferior. To make people so insecure that they forget their power. Men. You have NBA players. You have the most alpha masculine men that they prop up. And they make these people heroes. But then they have them wearing dresses and skirts and pearls. It's all about confusion. So it disempowers the human species. Because when people figure out their power and how powerful you are, it's a wrap. So that's why talking about the concept that you have of yourself, to give yourself the power to understand, I don't want to look like these clowns. I am me, and that is my superpower. I don't have to look like all these people who don't even know who they are, who have had so much plastic surgery that they're not even the person that they used to be. I don't need to understand why they do these things because I understand myself. And once we understand ourselves, that's where the power comes from. So changing your internal beliefs about yourself are only going to lead you closer to the power that you truly have. Because the more you think negative, the more you think I don't deserve this, the more you think I'm not worthy of this, the more you think that I'll never have that because of A, B, and C, the more that you think, well, I just grew up in a poor household, that we're just meant to be poor. The more that you have those disempowering belief systems about yourself, you will never attain the true power that you have to be the greatest version of yourself that you could be. Because it only takes one person to create change. It only takes one person to make you believe in yourself. And then you start to create that change within yourself. But when you're constantly being bombarded with propaganda of people that are not encouraging to be yourself, they're encouraging to be outside of yourself. They're encouraging you to change yourself because you're not good enough. They're encouraging you to change your whole face because you're not pretty enough. They're encouraging you to change the shape of your body so that you can get the man that you want, or you can get the woman that you want. But there is no end to that because it's a mental illness and it's a disease. And that's on purpose. That construct is created on purpose to keep you disempowered. But once you take your power back and turn it around into yourself, instead of going outside of yourself to look at who you should be or what you should look like, nobody can tell you different. Nobody can take away anything from you. Because you already have it inside of yourself. And if you already have it inside of yourself, nothing is a loss. Nothing is a loss. Because I'm full on the inside. Everything and everyone is you pushed out. Being aware of your current beliefs is synonymous with being aware of your environment and surroundings. What you currently experience in your world is but a reflection of your beliefs about yourself. I'm going to read that again. What you currently experience in your world is but a reflection of your beliefs about yourself. Yes, that's what I said. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. When I lived out in LA in my apartment, I never cared about that apartment. I decorated it, but I was like, I don't give a fuck about this apartment. And at that time, I didn't believe, and this place was not a cheap place to live in. It was a very nice complex. It was like, I don't know, over $4,000 a month for this apartment. I didn't live there by myself at the time, but I didn't care about the apartment, right? So there were, it was decorated like cute, but like nothing that I really gave a shit about. At that time in my life, I didn't believe that I was worthy of having the nicest thing. I didn't believe that even in my bedroom, like, I got creative and of course I painted the wall and whatever, but there were just things that were there that meant nothing to me and I didn't move them. They just stayed there and it was cluttered and it was not neat and it was not like well thought out because I just didn't care and I didn't believe that I could have the life that I want. Fast forward, doing all the work on myself and came back here during the pandemic, finally moved out of my apartment in LA, and I was staying at my sister's and I was like, manifested my apartment that I have now. And I said, I'm going to have the most amazing apartment. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. My sister's like, well, why don't you just stay, blah, blah, blah. Like, just stay here for a couple months. I was like, I'm leaving. I'm getting the place that I want, that I love. And I'm going to create the most amazing space. And literally went to a neighborhood. There was a bunch of different places. This was the first place that I looked. And I was like, that's it. I'm living here. That's it. I don't care what it costs. This is my place. It was just built 2 years ago. Brand new. Everything's brand new. And then I manifested this store. Because there's a store in El Paso. When I was dating someone there. Very briefly. Called Donovan. And it was this whole yard. Or this whole lot. With all these huge sheds. Or I don't know what you want to call them. But they have all these antiques there. And I was like obsessed. I was like, oh my God. And this was before I even moved out of LA. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to have like a new space that I could put all kind of stuff like this in. And I had all these ideas. So when I moved into this place, I was like, oh my God. Very good, Mary. I was like, oh my God. I really wish that there was a place like Donovan here. Like I need to find a place that has like all these antiques. Surely enough, I found this organic restaurant. Right down the street was a place called Redecor. And it said like estate sale consignment. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, oh my God, let me go in here. And I went in here in the store. And right away I saw these doors. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the place. So I was able to manifest an entire apartment and store with all of the things that I absolutely love that my place is now decorated with. So it just goes to show you how different, once your self-concept shifts, your life begins to work in your favor. It begins to look like the life that you always wanted. So if you're constantly looking outside of yourself, you're constantly looking up to celebrities, or you're looking at other people and comparing yourself to them, that's the whole purpose of these stupid apps, is to make people feel so disempowered that they want to change things about themselves and they'll never be happy. And that keeps you under the rule or thumb of authority. Because they are telling you, or you're telling yourself, like, I'm not good enough. Why don't I look like that? It's to compare yourself to feel disempowered. And that's the whole point. Everything that is brought to us or given to us, like these social media apps, are by design. It's not like, oh, let's, give these things so people can stay connected. These apps are created for psychological purposes. Everything in this three-dimensional matrix is for psychological purpose. Hypnotic spell of the matrix. 100%. So when we understand this, that everything is done for a psychological purpose to keep us disempowered, do the opposite. If you're following all these pages that make you feel inferior or make you feel in fear, unfollow them. Everything that is going into our mind every single day is making us become what we are. So how do you make better choices? What can you read? What can you educate yourself with that is going to be for the greater good? Sitting there exposing all these things that are happening is not going to help you with your mindset. It's going to keep you in fear. It's going to keep you constantly looking for negative things. And if you want to live like that, go right ahead. But if you want to do something to help empower yourself and empower other people to change, it's going to be something in the positive, not the negative. But most people think that they're doing something positive by exposing. Educating people on certain information is powerful, but there's other things that are just not necessary. Because it's not helping you become the best and highest version of yourself. Exposing everything is not high vibrational. It's like the lowest vibration. So if you want to live in the low vibration of constantly exposing, like every day, I cannot tell you how many DMs I get from people. Did you see what this happened? Did you see this that happened? Did you see what Joe Biden said? Did you see what Nancy Pelosi's doing? Did you see what this Hollywood PETA was doing? I don't fucking care. That's why I don't share it anymore. Because that's not allowed into my reality. Because the only way that I am going to create the reality that I want is by positivity, is by high vibrational information. Do you think that it's just a coincidence that they found all of these classified documents? They want to get them out. It's not just because, oh my God, look what they found. They planted it there. This is all psychological warfare. I don't care what these idiots are doing. They don't have anything to do with my reality. I don't care. It is a distraction from finding yourself. The Great Awakening is happening whether anybody likes it or not. And they want to try and distract you from that and what is happening. They want to try and distract everyone from having that awakening so that they are higher vibrational beings. And if you want to live in that reality or timeline, you can do that. I'm not living there. We all have the choice of where we're going to live. Are you going to live in the timeline that's like, oh, well, I grew up in blue collar or, low class family. So, this is just my life. And I just, I'll never have money. If you want to live in that mentality, go ahead. But what is the excuse or what is the reasoning why people that grew up in ghettos and people that grew up dirt poor are now millionaires? What is the difference between you and them? I'm not just talking about money, but that's just an example. Mindset. If you believe, oh, I had this illness, so, it just sucks and this is just my fate, then you can live there. But what is the reasoning for people that use their mind only to heal themselves of their own deadly illness? The difference is your mindset. The difference is your mindset. And when people say, raise your vibration, most people say, well, what the hell does that mean? It means find things, write a gratitude list and find things that you're grateful for and then think about them. It'll instantly shift. Think about even one thing. Think about the best thing that ever happened to you. Take 2 to 5 minutes to think about that best thing that ever happened to you and just daydream about it for a second. It will instantly shift your vibration. Instantly. That is how you raise your vibration. Surround yourself with people, places, or things that make you happy. Maybe it's your pet. Maybe it's walking through a wooded area of trees. Maybe it's going out in nature. Maybe it's walking on the beach. Maybe it's being with your favorite person. Whatever it is, people ask, well, how do you raise your vibration? Well, what do you do when you're happy? How do you feel when you're in a scenario that you're happy? That's raising your vibration. Create more of those scenarios. If you don't allow yourself to sit there and dwell in all the negative shit, you're already raising your vibration, even if it's not raised like high vibration, and it's just like a little bit higher than where you were. You're like, oh, this is different. I feel different. Okay. You're going to start to attract things. Instead of attracting all the things that are down here in your negative bullshit, you're going to start to attract things that are less bullshit. You're like, oh, that's different. And then you're going to continue to live in those high vibrational things. You're going to continue to think about the things that you're grateful for. And then you're going to raise your vibration a little bit more. And then you're going to start to find things, and things are going to gravitate towards you. Maybe it's a person on Instagram that had like a really cool quote. You're like, oh, I like this person. Then you look at their page and it's like all this really positive, high energy stuff. You're like, oh, well, I like that. Follow. So all these things start to gravitate towards you once you start to raise your levels of your vibrational frequency. So it's not like some magic power. Well, how am I going to raise my vibration? You do it when you're happy. It's not some secret. It's just keeping that level of vibration heightened. It's staying in those spaces. It's not allowing people to steal your peace. And trust me, I still allow people to do it. But it's finding those triggers and not allowing them to affect you anymore. Because you don't live down here anymore in this low vibration. You're up here now and you're like, oh, you know what? That used to bother me and now it bothers me a little. And then you'll get to a space where you say, that used to bother me a lot and now it doesn't bother me at all. There are some things that used to bother me so much. And now I'm just like, whatever. Because I don't live there anymore. Neutrality. And neutrality doesn't mean not choosing one side or the other. It's just seeing both for what they are and not having that deep reaction to the negative. You can say, I see that the bad is happening, but I'm choosing to do something good instead. Even if you can't help the bad thing that's happening, what can I do that's good instead that will add to the collective consciousness of higher vibration? Something that is good in my own world. I think that's good for today. Okay, this last sentence. Our goal is to develop a belief system that is in harmony with our vision. This is from 369, yeah. This is from Manifestation Planner. Our goal is to develop a belief system that is in harmony with our vision. Is your belief system in harmony with the vision that you want to have? Most of us know. Mine still, there's still so much shit of mine that is not in alignment. And I'm like doing all these things and doing energy healings and doing clearings and all this stuff to help me get rid of any of the blocks that I have. That's how bad I want it to change. So we could sit there and say, you know, this is just the hand of cards that I was dealt in life. Or you can say, I can change anything to make it better. Because that's how powerful I am. I create my own reality. My thoughts create, and I know that my thoughts create. So in order for me to change, I have to change my thought process and pattern programming. I will post this. You can tell that I'm like, okay, so I had my energy healing session on Saturday, and I am currently detoxing from that. So there's a little anger that is coming out of me between yesterday and today. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I love you so much. Have an amazing Monday, and I will be live a lot this week talking about my retreat. The retreat is March 22nd to the 27th in Tulum, Mexico. You can go to nourishmysoulretreats.org. You can use discount code SOUL for $1,000 off your ticket sales. If you have any questions, please send me a DM. Love you all. I'm reading from Project 369. I have every single book. They've sent me every single one. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I need to go do some inhaling of steam with eucalyptus. Love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing, and beautiful week.